What's going on, guys? This is Foresight Capital, and today I wanted to give a quick update on the Palantir trade because we had some pretty insane price action today due to some huge news that was announced. So we'll get to the news in just a moment, but first, Palantir closed up just over 5% at $27.23 per share today and is trading relatively flat in after hours. Both of those are important because the news that was actually released today, at least for the earliest reports that I could find, were released in after market hours at around 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But we saw a pretty big run-up throughout the day, which leads me to believe that potentially some larger scale investors were tipped off about the potential for this news event to come out and potentially increase the price. And what furthers me down that hole is that in aftermarket hours, which is when the announcement came out to the general public, to my knowledge, we're not really seeing any major price action. In fact, we're trading very flat even for aftermarket hours. Now, today was a pretty standard volume day for Palantir in relation to some of its recent trading activity. Yesterday was a very low volume day, so we saw a little bit of a spike, but that's relatively in line with what we've been seeing over the past week or so. So that tells me that potentially sellers are backing off just a little bit. Buyers are coming in and pushing up the price. I'm going to do some more research to see if I can find some institutional buys from today, but at this point, they're not currently out. So the news event that I wanted to talk about is actually that Palantir announced their inaugural live demo day for the end of January 2021. And they're effectively going to showcase their three primary products, which are Foundry, Gotham, and Apollo, to predictably investors and potential clients. And I think this is very important for the stock because a lot of people, and I've watched tons of YouTube videos and done a ton of research, and it seems that a lot of people don't fully understand their products to be able to make a business decision on whether or not they could benefit from investing in Palantir products. And I won't even begin to lead you all to believe that I fully understand their products. I've done a fair amount of research on Palantir, of course, but I don't fully understand the capabilities of each of their products, and I feel like a lot of other people don't either. So the potential to put these on showcase for predictably anybody who wants to join in is going to be very important to future revenue growth and could realistically lead to some potentially big contracts. And as we saw back a couple of weeks ago, this very large spike of about 20% in one day came solely from one contract announcement that was going to increase revenue by about 1.5%. And we saw about a 20% increase in the stock price. Now, we've given back a good amount of that over the past couple of days, and yesterday I made a video saying that pending any sort of news release, we were probably going to see some continued consolidation and decline back to at least the $24.60 per share range. And sure enough, the next day they came out with a news release that predictably pumped the stock at least the 5% that we saw today and could potentially increase the price possibly back to all-time highs. I'm going to talk about that in just a moment and where I think that the stock could ultimately trade from here. But as we saw, this 20% increase was again caused by about a 1% expected increase to 1.5% expected increase in total revenue for next year's projected revenue. So if we see any sort of contracts or even a large amount of interest in signing contracts with Palantir come out of this live event, then that could be a very big boon for revenue growth and for potential profitability later on. As we saw from the Q3 earnings, Palantir was actually profitable from operations already, but lost about $850 million due to expenses from their direct listing. So in normal quarters and normal years where we don't have that, we could see Palantir starting to actually throw out profitable quarters and profitable years, which could be very important for future growth. In fact, I pulled up an article here from the NASDAQ, and it's basically talking about how Morgan Stanley has downgraded Palantir to a sell, and they have a price target of about $17 per share, pretty much piggybacking on the fact that their third quarter revenue grew about 52%, but they still saw a loss due to the large write-off from their direct listing and that their revenue growth projections don't really allow them to grow into their current valuation. Therefore, they think that the price needs to decrease. But if we see here in a month or just a little over a month that there is the potential to sign major contracts, then we could actually justify Palantir's current valuation or even higher. And honestly, the stock seems to be a bit disconnected from the market. So anytime you see a 1% revenue growth projection and a 20% increase in the stock price, you can pretty much assume that we're seeing disconnection from the market. That's on top of the fact that we're already seeing a $50 billion market cap for this stock with basically no profitable quarters to this point. They were profitable from operations, but not after writing off portions of their direct listing costs. So where do I think that the stock's going to go from here? It'll be very interesting to see over the next couple of days. I was not expecting a news event to put us right back to nearing this resistance level over the next couple of days. What I want to watch is actually pre-market trading, just like we've been seeing some pre-market spikes every day for the past couple of days. We saw that a bit again today. So yesterday evening, we closed down closer to the $26 per share range and then crept up in pre-market hours to about $26.50 before having the spike when the market opened. And again, to my knowledge and from all of the timestamps that I can find of when these articles were posted, this hadn't even been announced yet, but it leads me to believe that somebody was tipped off that this announcement was coming today and they went ahead and traded up the stock. So I could potentially see us now testing this $27.67 per share resistance line that we've bumped up against multiple times over the past couple of weeks. And if we do break that, we now have to start worrying about this long-term trend as resistance. In fact, a lot of you had mentioned in the comments that the long-term trend acting as resistance is not a thing, but I'm going to pull up my Jumia chart here, which I just made a video about a couple of days ago. They were trading within this channel, and I had mentioned that if they broke out of the channel, we were probably going to see a pullback to this support level of about 31.35. We did see that, and now we've been seeing this channel bottom line acting as resistance against the stock. So it's definitely a possibility that we've got a new level of resistance for Palantir here on the chart. After we break out of this 2770 range, start seeing this bit of a resistance line. And this is a moving target because it's obviously a diagonal line that we can't exactly know the price until we know when we're coming up against it as a resistance level. Just for the other side, and this is what I mentioned yesterday, I still see us before breaking above this level coming back down and at least testing 2470 or 2460 per share before breaking above the red resistance line. But at this point, now that we've had a news release that seems to be positive and seems to give Palantir the potential to showcase their products and bring on some new contracts, that may or may not happen. I think short of this news release, we were going to see that over the coming days. But now that we have something with a specified date to look forward to, we can potentially look to push towards all-time highs. The biggest price zone is still going to be this 2770, which has been for quite some time because it's been rejecting Palantir every time we've tested it. So it'll be interesting to see if we test it in pre-market hours or at all tomorrow, or if we get a little bit of a pullback as investors digest how tight-lipped Palantir was about what's potentially going to be on display for the live event. But if we were able to successfully break both of these, of course, the next level that makes sense is all-time highs. So that's pretty exciting, but the most important thing is breaking this 2770 per share level. So I'm going to keep updating on the stock. I'll try to do a morning video tomorrow if at all possible, if my work schedule allows me to kind of take a little bit of a break just to see pre-market hour action. To see if we test this level or if we get a little bit of a pullback and start pulling back below some of these moving average lines. So definitely let me know what you think the results of their live event day is going to be. Will they earn a lot of contracts from it? Is that even what they're attempting with this live event day, or just more so to get their name out there for future revenue growth? Thanks for stopping by. Again, if this video brought you value, don't forget to subscribe, share it, and leave a comment down below. Thanks for watching till the end, and we'll catch you in the next one.